Esteemed audience, they say do not raise your voice but improve on your argument.
Because it's the rain and not thunder that grows flowers. We are having the semi-final debate in Kakamega County. I am your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Buru. The motion in this semi-final is growing urban population should be given priority to water access.
In the proposition, we have the defending champions from Season 8, Tigoi Girls High School.
And in the opposition, we have the gentlemen who want to take the title from them, Vihiga High School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to make a submission.
My name is Wilda Magenya from Friends School Tigoi Girls, fully proposing the motion that says growing urban population should be given priority to water access. This motion is in line with SDG number 6 that talks about clean water and sanitation. First, allow me to define for you the key terms in this motion. Urban. According to Gene Henklins, an American demographer, in his book, American Population, defines urban as a town or a city. Population. He goes ahead and defines population as all the inhabitants in a particular area. Priority. According to the Google Dictionary, defines priority as giving something more preference than the others. As the proposers, we advocate and support that the urban areas should be given priority to water access because of the following reasons. My first point, water is a basic need, and the people have a constitutional right to access of water. The Kenyan Constitution 2010 Chapter 4, Part 2, Section 43(1)(d) indicates that every person has a right to access of clean and adequate water supply. Therefore, by not prioritizing water access in urban areas, we'll be denying these people their constitutional right, and this will be violation of the law. Despite that the population is growing, these people have a right to access of water. My second point, access to water in urban areas help to control waterborne diseases. What are these waterborne diseases? Such as bilharzia, cholera, typhoid, among others. When there is inadequate supply of water in urban areas, there is likely to be spread of cholera. Why? Because the population is high, unlike in the rural areas. According to a report by the World Health Organization in 2015, observed that inadequate supply of water may result to the spread of cholera. Therefore, there must be adequate supply of water in urban areas in order to curb waterborne diseases such as cholera. The report further goes ahead and gives us statistics which says at least 1,300 people in urban areas lose their life because of cholera. And this can simply be curbed by ensuring there is adequate supply of water in urban areas. That is why, as the proposers, we are simply saying that we must prioritize access to water in urban areas in order to enforce SDG number 3 that talks about good health. I know everybody wants to be healthy. That is why we really need access to water despite the population growth. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make your submission.
There comes a time when the safety of the world is not convincing at all. Therefore, somebody has to step in and open a book of wisdom that provides solutions to the problems facing humanity. This is why Mwavali Derek from Vihiga Friends High School strongly opposes the motion that states, growing urban population should be given priority to water access. Growing, this is simply increasing all urban centers. These are towns, or growing urban centers simply means this is the increasing population in the town. Priority, something important that must be done fast. On to my first point. Science clearly states that a human being can live without food for 3 days. But where water is concerned, you can bet me sure that nobody can live without water for even 2 days. This implies that each home is entitled to equal water supply. Therefore, growing urban population should not be given the priority to water access. What about the people living in Mandera? What about the people living in Marsabit? If we are only giving priority to the people living in urban areas, what of these people living in semi-arid areas where there is no rain? How are they going to access water? Or are they camels who they can stay for over 90 days without water? On to my second point. We should not give priority to growing urban population since they are able to acquire water through their own means. Let me just give you an example. In this Nairobi city, people can buy tanks. There is rain in Nairobi. There is rain in Mombasa. Even Kisumu, there is rain. Even here in Kakamega County, it rains. If it rains, then we as people of Kakamega County or people of Nairobi County can actually accommodate or collect this water and store it for future use. But let me ask you a question. Giving priority to these people, it means that we shall actually provide to them water. What of these people who see rain after 3 months? How are they going to survive? Since water is life. Without water, how are they going to survive? How are they going to bathe? How are they going to cook? What are they going to drink? Let me just ask you, esteemed audience. If I take a person from Mandera and bring him here, and take a person from here back to Mandera, who is going to give a good view of the area where he went? If you are actually human, you need to think of the people who are suffering first before thinking of those who can stand on themselves and provide for themselves. If it rains in Nairobi and it does not rain in Mombasa, if I were the president of the country, then I will give the first priority to these people who are suffering because of lack of water, rather than giving the first priority to the people who can access this water. By all means, in Nairobi, there are dams. There is a dam in Nairobi. There are rivers in Nairobi. There are rivers in this Kakamega County. There are also rivers in Mombasa. But in Mandera, there are only oases. And these oases need to serve both human beings and animals. But in Nairobi, there is extremely excess water from these dams. How are these people going to survive? This is why Mwavali Derek, from the Center of Mathematics, Science and Technological Education in Africa, Vihiga boys, I rest my case.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Thank you. My name is Lucky Kilungu, Friends School Tigoi Girls, here to fully propose the motion that says growing urban population should be given priority to water access. Now, the first proposer, you simply talk about giving priority to rural areas. Now, I'd like to tell you that you're giving priority to people who don't have water. Just look at the rural areas and look at the urban areas. Most of the urban areas lack water. That is why we, the proposers, as promoters of humanity, we are saying that urban areas should be given priority to water. Now, you also talked about Mandera. Can you compare the population of Mandera and Nairobi? No, unless if you're not reasoning. Nairobi County is densely populated compared to Mandera County, and therefore Nairobi County, which is an urban area, should be given more priority to water. My audience, allow me go to my points. And my first point is prioritizing water access to urban areas will ensure that both the county and the national government get revenue. My audience, so many people happen to live in urban areas. And you know what? These people have to give or to pay some amount of money in order to access water. Where does this money go to? This money goes to the county government and later on to the national government, and thus leads to provision of other services in the country. The Auditor General Report of Kenya 2014 simply states that the following counties in urban areas received revenue because of freshwater supply. Let us look at Nairobi County, which received 168 million Kenyan shillings. Excuse me, look at the figures. Now, look at Machakos County, which received 109 million Kenyan shillings. Look at Kisumu City, which received 86 million Kenyan shillings. Opposers. Are you getting me right? Now, my second point. The urban areas are densely populated as compared to the rural areas, and thus they need to be given priority to water access. My audience, so many of you, amongst you, so many people live in urban areas. Where do you get water from? Now, according to a report done by the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, together with a report of the United Nations 2014, states that the following cities have high population. Let us look at New York, which has a population of 6 million. Look at Paris, which has a population of 5 million. Look at our city, Nairobi City, which has a population of 3.5 million. And my audience, the same report goes further ahead to report about Mandera County, which has a population of 120,000 people. I'll leave with a question. Do you expect that the amount of water used in Nairobi County should be the same as the one used in Mandera County? Food for thought. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
First things first. I would like to tell you that my first opposer did not say that we should prioritize supply of water to the people in the rural area. He talked about the people who are experiencing water shortages. I would like to thank the first proposer who just quoted from the Kenyan Constitution and get it clearly that she quoted that water access should be provided to all people. The Constitution states all people. It does not state people from the urban areas. When you talk of people from Turkana, because of their low population not being given priority to water, I wonder if you consider if Turkana, that population is a population of people or non-living things. Members of the Noble House, here we are talking about human beings. We are talking about a generation. Don't tell me that you want to disadvantage the population of Turkana. Consider they are human beings. And you just say that due to lack of water, it may lead to diseases such as cholera. I wonder how you'll blame lack of water as a result of cholera if you cook your food, fail to cover it, and then flies come and infect it with cholera virus. How is water concerned? Surely. Members of the Noble House, according to World Health Organization, a research conducted on the 12th of March 2011, World Health Organization states clearly that we need a principle of equity. We need equality. Members of the Noble House, given that water is a catalyst for and affects the development of the economy, we need equal supply of water to both the people in the urban areas and the people in the rural areas. We need a sense of equality to all these people. These are people. They are a generation. As we go ahead, we realize that the people in the rural area, right now they are disadvantaged. I'm talking about economy. They are in a state which we call periphery economy. The economy is low, members of the Noble House. We want to boost our economy as a nation from all corners. If we provide water only to the urban areas, we are not boosting people from the rural areas. The sanitation in the rural areas is going down. Members of the Noble House, it is very clear that each and every day as people wake up in the rural areas, they go searching for water. Many kilometers. It means that they also need access to clean water, a supply. Those kilometers are just chaotic to travel. Marvin Gabriel from Vihiga High School. Thank you very much.
The proposers have been asked, what makes them conclude that people in urban areas actually lack water supply? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, is it safe to use the alternative methods of water supply that they've given? They said that people in urban areas can collect rainwater, but we know that urban areas, because of industrialization, have acid rain. So is this still safe for the people? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I am here to speak for the people of Nairobi City who lack water. I am also here to speak for the people of Kisumu City and people of Nairobi City who are lacking water. Now, my name is Memory Consolata from Friends School Tigoi Girls, here today to strongly propose on the motion that states growing urban population should be given priority to water access. I'll start by answering the question that has been posed to me by the audience. I want to ask you another question. How many rivers have you seen in Nairobi town that are supplying water to the environs? How many dams have you seen that are supplying water to this town? Unless you're mad that you have started confusing sewage and water. This is also evident when we are seeing this in media when the people of Nairobi are crying due to water rationing. Why is there water rationing? This is simply because Nairobi City doesn't have a lot of water for its people. The opposers, we are not talking about prioritizing urban centers only. We are talking about giving these urban centers the first priority. Why? Urban centers have a higher population compared to rural areas. Urban centers also have a lot of trading activities compared to rural areas. Also, urban centers have intense industrialization compared to rural areas. My first point, urban areas have intense industrialization compared to rural areas. Audience, we are saying that in urban areas, there are a lot of industries, there are a lot of factories which require water for cooling their machines. They require water as a raw material to their industries. Now, I want us to move to Johannesburg, a city found in South Africa. And according to a report done by IMF on the 21st of September to the 21st of October, the year 2013, it reveals that the following companies in South Africa are responsible for distributing water in South Africa. And they include 1. Shoprite Holdings, 2. Remgro Industries, and 3. We have Sasol Chemicals Company. My second point, the literacy level among urban dwellers is higher compared to the dwellers in rural areas. Audience, you will bear me witness that those people who are living in rural areas do not have the needed knowledge when it comes to conserving water, and that's why we need to prioritize water to the urban dwellers. Now, according to a report done by the World Health Organization, it reveals that illiteracy has contributed to 60% of water being conserved among the urban dwellers. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
Actually, no water, no life, no blue, no green. That's why I will stand there before you to oppose the motion that clearly states that that urban growing population should be given priority to water access. But before I continue, I would like to answer the question that was posted by a fellow member of this noble house. It is clear, he has clearly asked that is it still safe to harvest the rainwater despite of these problems of acid rain? I want to tell you this, that in these urban centers, we have adequate facilities and treatment equipments which can be used to clean this water. An example of chlorine. My fellow audience, when you have dirty water, when we have water that has been contaminated, you can use chlorine in order to clean this water to be used by the people. I hope your question has already been answered. Now, on to my first point. Prioritizing water supply in urban centers will lead to a high impact in food production and agricultural production. Simply because, you see, we all know that rural areas are the high producers of agricultural products. And many of us complain about low income in agricultural products. I remember he has talked very well of trading activities. I remember that these products, we get them from the rural areas. So, take an example of the northeastern countries. They cannot practice agricultural products since they don't have adequate water to enable them to do agriculture. So the government should work strongly, should come together and make these people to have water. Make these people to get water in order to practice agriculture, to enable them even to earn a living. Many people are dying because of lack of water. According to WWF organization, more than 1 million people die in these semi-arid areas and arid areas because of lack of water. How many in urban centers die? We are considering these people, forgetting about the other people in Northeastern. Are they not people? Are they dogs or cows or any organism? They are our people. We should consider Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which clearly states gender equality. And also Sustainable Development Goal number 10, which say that reduction of inequalities. How can the people in urban areas get water while there are others who are suffering because of lack of water? We should have a sense of humanity. He also said that Kisumu County is facing a challenge of lack of water, and yet it has a lake, Lake Victoria, which can supply water to these people. And as I said earlier, there are facilities in order to curb contaminated water, such as chlorine. That's why I stand by my side to say that growing population should not be given priority over water access. Once again, it's Willie Sambros from Vihiga High School. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
Thank you. Allow me start by correcting the opposers. Nobody in the proposition side talked about Turkana County. What we simply talked about is Mandera Town. And we're giving them rivalry, they are refusing. I give them a rivalry, they refuse. And the right term I have to describe them is mad. My audience, allow me tell you something. I have 2 sons, John and Peter. John lives in Nairobi County. He is a casual laborer. He lacks money and he does not have access to water. Peter lives in a rural home. He has a river running through his farm. My audience, I have this bottle of water. To whom am I going to give this water? Am I going to give to Peter or John? Obviously, I'm going to give this bottle of water to John because he does not have money, and on top of that, he does not have access to water. Now, the opposer said that how many people have died in urban areas because of lack of water. So many. The Daily Nation newspaper of June 2016, it reports that people in Nairobi County died because of cholera. And what caused this? Lack of water. Thank you.
Opposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
A research conducted on June 2016. Which date? Because I wish to research. Now, as I stand here, I'm not talking for Nairobi or Mombasa or Kisumu. I'm talking for the whole nation. I think that is what we call humanity. Because I'm human enough to know that my fellow human beings require everything that I also require. According to the World Health Organization, 12th March 2014, it states clearly that rural areas suffer more problems of water than the urban areas. Let me tell you why. This research indicates that over 4 billion people in developing countries residing in the rural areas suffer from diarrhea annually, which leaves 1.8 million Kenyan children dead. 1.8 million, I think that's a population enough to give me a win if I vie for presidency in future. We are killing a nation, members of the noble house. Let us think about our humanity. 1.8 million people, it's just painful. Thank you very much. Marvin Gabriel from Vihiga High School.
We were very informed here. There's a story about human rights, that we are all equal and equality from the gentleman. and from the ladies who are trying to tell us that, listen, there is more growth that we see from the urban centers, and we need to keep that growth ongoing. So in terms of your submissions, I want to appreciate that they were okay. Nonetheless, I just want to point out a few things. When you're referring to your opponents, just use cordial terms so that we're not calling them mad and the likes as well. And please get to note, when you're at the semifinals, we will check on anything, all right? Sometimes even where your tie is, if you have a tie, so that at least we can cut out on anything. So the level of judging becomes more harsh, if I may say. So all the best. We'll wait for the results. For this semi-final, Tigoi girls going against Vihiga Boys High School. The judges saw it fit to award Vihiga Boys High School 73.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. Tigoi Girls High School. The judges saw it fit to award you with a difference of 1%. 72.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. With that being said, we'd like to congratulate Vihiga Boys High School for being the greater debater in this debate.
Thank you very much for staying with us through this very heated debate. To Tigoi girls, please do remember, it is not about whether you lose or win, it is in the experience that you gain. I have been your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Boru. Catch you in the next episode.